Guys, how are you doing? In the last video, we talked about the concept of motion, right? We saw that motion itself is relative, and whether an object is perceived to be moving or to be at rest completely depends on the state of the observer himself. Now, in this video, we'll talk about three important physical quantities: position, distance, and displacement. And once we understand these quantities, we can easily understand the concepts of speed, velocity, and acceleration later. So, what are we waiting for? Without any further ado, let's begin. So, guys, what is position? Well, you see, position is the location of an object with respect to a reference point. Now, position is a vector quantity, therefore, we always express it as position vector in physics. Now, in case you've forgotten, a vector quantity is a quantity that needs both magnitude and direction to completely define it. Now, let's take an example and try understanding the concept of position better. So, let's imagine a straight line path on which a cyclist can go in both right and left directions. Now, the lamppost that you see in the middle will actually act as the reference point. So, let's call it point O. Now, initially, let's place the cyclist exactly at the reference point, which means exactly at the lamppost. Now, assuming our sign convention to be right side positive and left side negative, we can place all the negative numbers towards the left of 0 and all the positive numbers towards the right of 0. Now, each number that you see on this straight line actually represents a particular position. Great. Now, our cyclist initially begins moving in the right direction before he momentarily stops at +3 mark. So, let's call it point A. After that, the cyclist continues moving towards the right direction before he stops again at +5 mark. So let's call it point B. Now at this point, the cyclist turns around and begins traveling in the left direction before he stops again at -2 mark. So let's call it point C. And then the cyclist continues moving in the left direction before he ultimately stops at -6 mark. So let's call it point D. Now, let's write the position vectors of points A, B, C, and D right away. So, the position vector of point A is nothing but +3 units. Now, in real life, instead of units, you will have meters, kilometers, centimeters, etc. But for now, for the sake of simplicity, let's keep calling it units. So, what does +3 units really mean? Well, you see, this tells us that the point A or the position A is basically 3 units away from the reference point in the positive direction, which in this case happens to be the right direction. So 3 units is the magnitude of this position vector, and positive sign tells us the direction of this position vector. Now let's write the position vector of point B. Well, that comes out to be +5 units. Now once again, 5 units is the magnitude of this position vector, and plus or the positive sign is the direction. So this tells us that point B is 5 units away from our reference point in the right direction or in the positive direction. Similarly, we can write the position vectors of points C and D as -2 and -6 units. Now here 2 and 6 represent the magnitudes, while the minus signs represent the directions of these two position vectors. So we are essentially trying to say that points C and D are 2 and 6 units away from our reference point respectively, and both are in the left direction. So guys, I hope you are clear about the concept of position by now. So let's talk about the next physical quantity, which is distance. Now distance is defined as the total length of the path covered by a moving object. So what do you think is the total length of the path covered by our cyclist who's moving on the straight path? Well, it's easy to find. You see, from the reference point O, the cyclist first travels to point A, which is 3 units away. From point A, he goes to point B, which is 2 units further away from A. Now from point B, the cyclist goes all the way to point C, which is 7 units away from point B. And ultimately, he stops at point D, which is 4 units away from point C. So what is the total path length covered by the cyclist? Well, it's nothing but 3 plus 2 plus 7 plus 4. In total, this comes out to be 16 units. So the distance traveled by our cyclist is equal to 16 units. Now notice that we didn't really account for the change in direction while calculating distance. We just added the separations or the lengths as they were. We didn't really worry about their signs. So So this tells us that distance is a quantity that is independent of direction. So what does that mean? Well, this means that distance is actually a scalar quantity. Keep that in mind, guys. Great. Now let's talk about the concept of displacement. So displacement is a vector quantity and its magnitude is equal to the shortest distance between the initial and the final positions of an object. Now, because the shortest distance is also the straight line distance, we can say that displacement's magnitude is the straight line distance between the initial and the final positions of an object. Mathematically, we define displacement as final position vector minus initial position vector of an object. Now, this is an important formula, so you must remember it. So, my question is, what is the net displacement of our cyclist who began moving at point O and ultimately stopped at point D? Well, you can easily find that using this formula. The final position vector is nothing but minus 6 units because the final point is point D. The initial position vector is 0 units because the initial point is the starting reference point. So from here, we get the displacement value as minus 6 units. Now here, the negative sign shows the direction of the displacement, which from the figure you can clearly verify is towards the left direction. And the number 6 tells us the magnitude of displacement, which is also the shortest distance between point D and point O. From the figure you can verify it's clearly 6 units. Now I can also define displacement between any two arbitrary points using the same definition. So tell me, what is the displacement of our cyclist when he goes from point B to point D? Well, it's nothing but position vector of point D because it's the final point minus the position vector of point B because it's the initial point. This comes out to be minus 6 minus plus 5 or minus 11 units. So the displacement here is 11 units in the negative or the left direction. From the figure you can easily verify that this result is indeed correct. So with that, I hope the concepts of distance and displacement are clear to you. Now let me tell you a fascinating fact about these two physical quantities. You see, the magnitude of displacement is always less than or equal to the magnitude of distance. So in some cases they are equal, while in the other cases distance is larger. There is no case possible where distance is less than displacement. So let me show you the instances when they are equal and also show you the instances when they are not. So let's take the case when our cyclist moves from point A to point B. Now clearly the distance travelled by him is equal to 2 units in this case because the cyclist directly goes from A to B without any funny turnarounds. Similarly, the displacement of the cyclist can be written as plus 5 minus plus 3, final position vector minus initial position vector. Now this comes out to be plus 2 units, which tells us that the magnitude of displacement is clearly 2 units. So in this case you can see that distance and the displacement have the same magnitudes. However, if I consider another case, when the cyclist goes from point A to point C, the results look slightly different. So tell me, what is the distance travelled by the cyclist when he goes from A to C? Well, it's actually 2 units plus 7 units because the cyclist goes to point B first and then turns around to go to point C. So in total he covers a distance of 9 units. But what about the displacement of the cyclist? Well, it's actually position vector of point C minus the position vector of point A. Now this essentially comes out to be minus 2 minus plus 3 or minus 5 units. Now from here I can say that the magnitude of displacement is actually 5 units, but the magnitude of distance is 9 units. So you can clearly see that they are not equal to each other, and on top of that, distance is larger than displacement. So what we understand from this discussion is that when an object does not change its direction while moving, distance and displacement are equal to each other. But when an object changes its direction while moving, distance is always larger than the magnitude of displacement. Now, as I said before, the magnitude of displacement can never be larger than distance because by definition, magnitude of displacement is the shortest distance between any 2 points in question. And with that, guys, let's end our video today. I hope you got complete clarity on the concepts of position, path length, which is also distance, and displacement. In the next video, we'll talk about the concept of speed and velocity. Till then, let's summarize whatever we have learned so far. Position is the location of an object with respect to a reference point. Position is a vector quantity. Distance is the total length of the path covered by a moving object. Distance is a scalar quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity and its magnitude is equal to the shortest distance between the initial and the final positions of an object. Mathematically, we write displacement as the final position vector of an object minus the initial position vector of an object. The magnitude of displacement is always less than or equal to the magnitude of distance.